Like animals, plants need proper food and sufficient air and water in order to live and thrive. Here we shall see the life story of a typical plant condensed into a few minutes.
Word up, my name's Dave. This is episode 2 of The Rambling Hobo. This time I'm going to approach the creation station with a different happening. It's 20 degrees outside, maybe 21, something like that. The weather's been pretty weird. It's been so cold, so dry, but it's been awesome for myself because I've been able to catch up on all the things that I need to do at home. In years past, I would just freak out. That's basically what would happen. I'd freak out. I'm a real reactionary, and that's what I've been working on along this journey through sobriety and the breath work and cleaning out a bunch of the old patterns that I've developed along this wild and crazy journey. Before, I would always go down to California. That was the easiest way out. 18, I believe, was my first trip, 2 days after I finished high school. There's something about the sunshine. And up here, oh man, it's really difficult. But the neat thing is you can break your patterns. And I think a lot of it, almost all of it, has to do with movement. Doesn't matter how far you move. Sometimes you just got to get up and dance or just wiggle, whatever it may be. But I learned that when I would go south, wow, I would feel good, especially for the winter, almost like a bird, like migrational happenings. And the funny thing is a hobo, if you look it up, it's a migrational worker. So not even knowing it, when I was about 18, I just really became a hobo. And I never had a home. A lot of that had to do with the way that I was brought up and the friction between my father and I. And he kind of repeated the patterns of what his family had gone through, and same with my mother. Part of the bipolar behavior that I've been diagnosed with, and the maniacal or whatever they call it, was always that there was something else out there. And so I'd go. It took me on a lot of awesome missions and journeys that brought me actually to the place where I am right now, which is right here. I would spend a lot of time, even when I was in California doing the ping-ponging, I'd struggle with things being too stagnant and the patterns not shifting or changing, so I would just break away. And I'd find myself in the Salton Sea, and I was lucky enough to meet Leonard Knight. So now that I get to kind of connect the dots with all these things that happen, I realized that I was just literally following my heart. Even though the radio stations and the static, it never made sense. I could never listen to the mainstream radio. As a child, I guess I could. Whatever songs would get me moving my feet, or something totally different. But where it brought me to is this point right here, right now, which is where the absolute present, as they call it, it's a present, if you can tap into that, is. I didn't go anywhere this year. I haven't gone anywhere in years, it seems like. So I'm here dealing with my chores and fixing all of my broken things that where once before I would see that everything was broken, I would just leave. And it piled up. I've been out here in the woods for 10 years. And really all the answers do lie within, I'm seeing. And a lot of that changed with the breath work and the challenging myself. So I'm challenging you to challenge yourself, because that's where all the gold's at. It's inside you. So yeah, if there's anything that's been pulling you to go here, go there, maybe sit for a second and feel it out. Because you may understand or overstand or finally see that wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. And when you kind of tap into that, then, well, maybe you're able to fly free and go like the birds. So in this episode, I'm encouraging you to just take a step back and sit and see what happens. Also, one thing I've been noticing is a lot of the energy that was pulling me to go here, do this, do that, it was all external happenings. And when a patriarchal society is ruling you, well, there's not much love. And I'm feeling this shift as we're going into the year of the wood snake. It's pretty cool, the age of Aquarius, and I definitely feel I've been able to reconnect with nature and see that, wow, the fruit starts to grow back. And my favorite film that I'd ever seen in my entire life was Fruit of the Vine. It's what took me on my journey. It's a skateboarding movie, pool skating. And you start to see that, well, that's what I'm experiencing out here. So I've taken a step away from the Instagram and the other social media platforms where I'm on my cell phone. It's the same thing. It just doesn't really, it doesn't work out here for me. So I got a new email address, and if you'd like to contact me, you can definitely send me a message here, or leave a comment, whatever. But the easiest way to get a hold of me from here on out will be theramblinghobo.proton.me. I need some space, so it's been nice to be out here and just sit and be and listen to the fire. Alright, so there you go. That's the Rambling Hobo episode 2. All sorts of different things will be coming down the line. Thank you for your time, energy, and keep up all the radical.
Close up of the pea blossom, the lateral or side petals are drawn apart, exposing the boat-shaped keel, which is made up of 2 petals. The keel protects the essential parts of the flower, the stamens and the pistil. Now let me open a wing. Inside is a projection here, which fits into a groove here in the keel. The top or outer tip of the pistil is called the stigma. The stalk of the stigma is called the style, and the lower part of the pistil is the ovary in which the seeds develop. The pistil may be called the female part of the flower. The stamens are the male part of the flower. It is in the pollen sacs or anthers of the stamens that the pollen grains develop. Bees, in their quest for nectar out of which to make honey, may brush the pollen grains from the stamens and carry them on their bodies to other flowers, and thus bring about cross-fertilization, which is so important in the life history of most of our flowering plants. The bee, in seeking nectar from the pea flower, accidentally or incidentally gets the pollen grains on its body, for the pollen grains are ripe and are being shed when the nectar is ready.